Let us strip away illusions and face the raw truth. Money is not merely paper, not merely a system of exchange, and certainly not merely a tool of comfort. Money is power materialized, power in its most liquid form, a resource that bends people, institutions, and even ideas. You may have been told that character, virtue, or faith alone will secure your destiny, but in a world ruled by commerce, governed by contracts, and structured by hierarchies, money is the true arbiter of what a man may or may not do. From a Machiavellian lens, money is not about greed, it is about survival and dominion. It is not a toy for vanity, but a fortress against dependence. The man without wealth is a servant, even if he pretends otherwise. He negotiates from weakness, he begs for permission, and his life is dictated by the wills of those who can pay. The man with wealth, in contrast, writes the rules, selects the company he keeps, and commands time itself. The first law, freedom belongs to the wealthy. Freedom is the cry of every man, yet almost none attain it. Why? Because freedom costs. To live on your terms, to say what you think, to reject what insults your dignity, you must pay for it. The poor man cannot afford honesty. He must bow, he must conceal, he must comply. Only the wealthy man can look authority in the eye and refuse without trembling. Money purchases the only freedom that matters, the freedom to live unbound. The second law, influence is bought, not earned. Influence is not won through idealism. Men respect money before they respect words. Power bends toward resources. Laws are shaped by patrons, not by beggars. A man who acquires immense wealth acquires a voice louder than protest, more enduring than philosophy. When you hold money in abundance, the doors of power open, not because you knocked, but because they need what you carry. Influence is the currency of politics, business, and even personal relationships. Without it, you remain invisible. The third law, time belongs to the rich. What is time to the poor? A chain. He sells it by the hour, often at a price set by others. What is time to the wealthy? A weapon. He buys back his days. He outsources the trivial. He spends his hours where they yield the greatest return. With enough wealth, you are no longer chained to the labor of survival. You command time, and with time, you command life itself. The fourth law, survival in crisis, depends on money. History shows us. Kingdoms collapse, markets crash, famine spreads, yet those who hold reserves of wealth endure. In times of uncertainty, the rich retreat to safety, the poor are consumed by the storm. Wealth is not only about thriving in prosperity, but surviving in calamity. To neglect this truth is to gamble your life and that of your family on the mercy of chance. The Machiavellian principle, acquire by any means necessary. The soft man says, do not obsess over money, it is not everything. But this softness is a lie. It is spoken by those already secured by wealth or by those too timid to seize it. From a Machiavellian standpoint, money must be acquired in abundance, by every legitimate and strategic method available. For without it, every other virtue is fragile. Courage without resources dies in silence. Ambition without funding collapses. Love without security rots into resentment. You must therefore treat money as a weapon, as armor, as a shield. To live without it is to live exposed, vulnerable to humiliation and dependency. To live with it in abundance is to command choice, respect, and continuity. And remember, the world does not reward those who wait, it rewards those who act. Every empire was built not on hesitation, but on the ruthless gathering of resources. If you wish to shape destiny, protect your bloodline, or escape mediocrity, you must embrace the harsh but liberating law. Acquire money at all costs, or be ruled by those who did. If the first truth is that money is freedom, influence, time, and survival, then the second truth is even harsher. In this world, without wealth, you are disposable. The poor man may have dreams, but his dreams are dictated by the wealthy. The poor man may have opinions, but they are ignored unless amplified by a patron. The poor man may even have integrity, but integrity without resources is a whisper in the wind. A Machiavellian mind does not waste time debating whether this is fair. Fairness is a myth told to pacify the powerless. What matters is not fairness, but function. how the world operates, and how you position yourself within it. To live honorably without means is to live powerless, dependent, and perpetually vulnerable. To live with great wealth is to anchor yourself in reality's strongest foundation. Wealth is the foundation of authority. Ask yourself, why do rulers command obedience? Is it love? Is it charisma? Is it divine mandate? All these are masks. Beneath them lies the machinery of wealth. Armies are paid, palaces are built, laws are enforced, all through the control of resources. Without wealth, no authority survives. Even the most ruthless prince cannot rule long if his coffers are empty. So too in the life of a private man. Without wealth, your voice carries no authority. Your ambitions dissolve into wishes. Your intentions remain locked in your mind because you lack the means to execute them. Money is the bridge between imagination and reality. Wealth is the true test of independence. Many boast of independence, yet most men are slaves not to masters, but to necessity. They wake when ordered by the alarm clock, labor where commanded, and return to obligations they cannot escape. They are free in theory, but in practice they are bound. Independence is not the ability to speak freely, it is the ability to walk away. To walk away from a tyrant boss, from a toxic relationship, from a corrupted system, and you cannot walk away without wealth. The man who acquires immense wealth becomes truly untouchable. He can refuse what degrades him, choose what empowers him, and relocate where opportunities are greater. Without this, you are chained, no matter how proud your words. Wealth as a weapon in human relations. Consider how people treat you when they know you are wealthy. They listen more carefully, they obey more quickly, and they respect your silence more than they would respect another man's loudest protest. The human spirit is easily swayed, and nothing sways it faster than the presence of wealth. People admire courage, but they bow before gold. They may disagree with your philosophy, but they cannot ignore your influence if you control resources. Wealth magnifies your presence and cements your relevance in the minds of others. This is not corruption, it is reality. To deny it is to live naive. To embrace it is to live strategically. Wealth as security. Across generations, Machiavelli warned rulers to think not only of themselves, but of the legacy they leave behind. Wealth is not only for today's comfort, it is for the protection of your bloodline. A poor man's children inherit his chains. They inherit his struggles, his limitations, his vulnerability. A wealthy man's children inherit options, education, connections, safety, and power. To neglect the accumulation of wealth is to betray not only yourself, but your descendants. To acquire it is to arm them with the tools of survival in a world that shows no mercy to the weak. Wealth is the master of time and death. There is another brutal truth. Money cannot stop death, but it can delay it, soften it, and shield you from unnecessary suffering. The poor die faster from preventable diseases, from exhaustion, from lack of access to care. The wealthy purchase the finest doctors, the best environments, and the kind of rest that preserves life. Time bends toward wealth. With it, you buy more years, more vitality, more opportunity to pursue the ambitions that truly matter. To live without wealth is to live at the mercy of decay. To live with it is to extend your power against the inevitable. Why acquire at all costs? Some will say, but should we not live with balance? Should we not avoid obsession with money? But here lies the Machiavellian secret. Balance is the language of those already secured by wealth. They can afford balance because their needs are met. You, however, cannot afford complacency until abundance is yours. The phrase "at all costs" does not mean lawlessness or recklessness. It means determination. It means you must treat the pursuit of wealth not as a side project, but as a central mission. To hesitate is to fall behind. To delay is to be dominated. To make excuses is to admit weakness. The man who relentlessly pursues wealth secures for himself and his lineage a fortress. The man who refuses, who rationalizes poverty, who glorifies struggle as virtue, condemns himself to chains. Final Machiavellian reflection. The world you live in is not a paradise of fairness, nor a temple of virtue. It is an arena, a place where every man and woman is engaged, willingly or unwillingly, in a struggle for dominance, for survival, for continuity. And in this arena, the sword is money. Whoever carries more of it dictates the rhythm of the battle. Whoever lacks it fights naked, exposed, condemned to defeat. To ignore this truth is to live in fantasy. To deny it is to condemn yourself. To embrace it is to rise above the crowd. The brutality of reality. Without wealth, you are nothing. You may think talent will save you. It will not. The world is littered with graves of talented men who died poor, forgotten, their genius buried with them. You may think morality will protect you. It will not. Virtue without resources becomes martyrdom, and martyrdom without an audience is silence. You may think love will carry you, but love without stability becomes bitterness, and affection without bread collapses into blame. This is the Machiavellian reality. Without wealth, you are invisible. Your opinions carry no weight, your dreams remain unbuilt, your life becomes a story written by others. With wealth, even mediocrity is celebrated. With wealth, even foolishness is forgiven. With wealth, even enemies bow. The hidden law of dependence. Dependence is the silent chain that enslaves most people. A man dependent on wages is chained to his employer. A man dependent on charity is chained to the donor. A man dependent on luck is chained to chance. But a man with great wealth is dependent on nothing and no one. He creates his own conditions, dictates his own contracts, and bends the rules of others to his advantage. This is why Machiavelli warned that a ruler must never rely solely on the goodwill of others. The wise man builds his own fortress. In the same way, your wealth is your fortress. Without it, you are at the mercy of forces you cannot control. The psychological power of wealth. It is not only about material control. Wealth reshapes the mind. Poverty breeds fear, hesitation, timidity. Every decision of the poor man is poisoned by anxiety. Can I afford this? Will I survive tomorrow? What if I fail? These thoughts crush ambition before it even rises. But wealth liberates the mind from trivial survival. It allows you to think in centuries, not days. It allows you to build empires, not merely pay bills. The wealthy man asks, how do I expand? How do I dominate? How do I leave a legacy? His imagination is free because his stomach is fed. This mental shift is not a luxury. It is the difference between greatness and mediocrity. Wealth as the tool of war. Machiavelli insisted that no prince is secure without his own army. But armies do not march on loyalty alone. They march on coin. In modern life, your army is your network, your employees, your allies. None of them stand by you out of pure love. They stand by you because you command resources. Wealth allows you to gather allies, reward loyalty, and punish betrayal. It allows you to defend your name, protect your reputation, and fight back against those who would humiliate you. Poverty disarms you. Wealth arms you to the teeth. Wealth and the illusion of morality. Many will accuse the pursuit of money of being immoral. They will say, do not chase riches. Be content. Be humble. But examine who says this. Often it is the wealthy who already sit secure, teaching the poor to stay weak so they are never challenged, or it is the powerless who dress up their failure as virtue. The truth is that wealth itself is neither moral nor immoral. It is a weapon, and like all weapons, its morality depends on the hand that wields it. A sword can defend the innocent or slaughter the weak. It is not the sword's fault. In the same way, money in your hands becomes an extension of your will. If your will is noble, wealth magnifies nobility. If your will is ruthless, wealth magnifies ruthlessness. The Machiavellian man does not ask whether money is moral. He asks whether he has enough of it to secure his position. Wealth across generations. The true legacy. Men dream of leaving behind their name, their philosophy, their creations. But let us be brutally honest. A name without resources is soon forgotten. Who remembers the countless thinkers who starved in obscurity? But the wealthy leave institutions, estates, dynasties. Their names live on not because of their virtues alone, but because their wealth preserved their memory. When you die, your wealth will either curse your bloodline with debt and struggle, or bless them with tools to rise higher than you ever did. To neglect the accumulation of wealth is not only to betray yourself, it is to betray your children and their children after them. Why at all costs? The phrase "at all costs" terrifies the timid. They imagine crime, corruption, or dishonor. But that is their misunderstanding. Machiavelli never glorified recklessness. What he taught is relentless focus. At all costs means there is no excuse for poverty, no justification for dependence, no virtue in weakness. It means you must pursue wealth with the same intensity that others pursue survival, because that is exactly what is at stake. Your survival, your freedom, your influence, your legacy. Half-hearted effort produces half-hearted results. The man who treats wealth as optional will always remain at the mercy of the man who treated it as essential. The final Machiavellian command. Understand this. Poverty is not only a condition, it is a weapon used against you. Governments exploit it, employers exploit it, rulers exploit it. A poor man is easier to command, easier to silence, easier to discard. Wealth is the only shield against this manipulation. So the command is clear: acquire so much money that no one can buy your silence, no one can dictate your choices, and no one can cage your descendants. Do not wait. Do not excuse. Do not romanticize struggle. The world bows to those who hold abundance and spits on those who cling to scarcity. In the words that echo the Machiavellian spirit, acquire so much money at all costs, or kneel before those who did.